Britain's Prime Minister says sorry and assures Caribbean migrants not being targeted for deportation. And in sport, Theodore Whitmore withdraws his resignation as head coach of the Reggae Boys. I'm Ricardo Roberts, and this is Caribbean in 10 for Tuesday, April 17th. I'll be back with the details after the break.
Since 2012, fused response exercises have been funded by the U.S. government. They are done under the U.S. Southern Command in collaboration with the host countries such as Belize and Guyana. Now, Trinidad and Tobago accepted the invitation to host this year's security simulation drill since last year. In Tobago, the THA's Tobago Emergency Management Agency, TEMA, will play a vital role in this exercise.
This month, Caribbean Passport celebrates growth in the tourism sector, with Barbados winning the title of Best Destination in 2017. Grenada promoting Spice Mass. Trinidad and Tobago talks digital transformation, and Antigua and Barbuda heads into their sailing week. This and more coming up next on this station.
Britain's Prime Minister Theresa May has publicly apologized to Caribbean countries for anxiety caused by her country's announcement that it was clamping down on unregularized citizens from what is known as the Windrush generation. In a meeting with CARICOM leaders to discuss the situation of undocumented Caribbean immigrants who came to the UK before 1971, May said her government was not clamping down on migrants from the Caribbean.
And I want to dispel any impression that my government is in some sense clamping down on Commonwealth citizens, particularly those in the Caribbean who built a life here. I take this issue very seriously. The Home Secretary apologised to the House of Commons yesterday for any anxiety caused, and I want to apologise to you today because we are genuinely sorry for any anxiety that has been caused.
May said the current controversy arose from the introduction of new rules designed to ensure only legal citizens have access to welfare and national health services or service systems. Now, under the 1971 Immigration Act, all Commonwealth citizens already living in the UK were given indefinite leave to remain, but the Home Office did not keep a record of those granted leave to remain or issue any paperwork confirming it, making it difficult for the individuals to now prove they are in the UK legally. But May said she and Home Secretary Amber Rudd will do all in their power to assist those who need to find documentation to prove their immigration status. At the same time, the Prime Minister said the overwhelming majority of Windrushers already have their documentation. Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the African, Caribbean and Pacific Group, ACP, must be committed to a process of reinventing and repositioning itself as a modern, fit-for-purpose intergovernmental organization in a changing global environment. Addressing ambassadors from the 79-member grouping in Brussels yesterday, Holness said Jamaica stands ready to support a process of operationalization of the aspirations for a revitalized ACP as outlined in a policy document titled Towards the ACP We Want. He says if the reform process is to be successful, it must be pursued in an atmosphere of transparency and trust where both pragmatism and compromise can prevail and where collective efforts can give rise to an effectively reformed ACP group. The Jamaican leader said a transformed ACP group will be able to better empower the more than 1 billion people that it represents across the three regions. The ACP group is preparing for negotiations with the European Union for a new agreement to the Cotonou Agreement that expires in 2020. Now, Holness said the successor accord will be critical to the effective pursuit of sustainable development by all our countries. Education officials in Haiti say they have begun the process of regularizing teachers who have returned to their classroom after a 2-month strike. Teachers at the Fundamental School of Application and Teaching Support were back on the job yesterday after staging a strike to demand regularization of their status, payment of outstanding salaries, and better working conditions. Jackson Plateau, the director of the Ministry of Education, confirmed that the process, which had been promised several weeks ago, had started, and that letters of appointment to teachers as well as dealing with their irregular status were being formalized. He said on the instructions of Education Minister Pierre Jesu Agnor-Cadet, the first batch of 500 letters of appointment had been sent to several high school principals, and that the operation would continue through all the department directorates of education. The principals of and others who were present when Plateau made the announcement welcomed the move by the authorities to regularize the teachers. Stay with us, your Midday Sport is next. Intervention by Sports Minister Olivia Grange has resulted in Theodore Whitmore withdrawing his resignation and returning as head coach of Jamaica Reggae Boys. The former international quit last week in a contract row with the Jamaica Football Federation, contending he had been treated with great disrespect and total disregard by the local governing body. But the dispute was resolved following a meeting at Grange's office, which involved officials of the JFF Ministry of Sports and Whitmore himself. JFF President Michael Ricketts said the resolution had been in the interest of the sport. The 45-year-old Whitmore, who played for English clubs Hull City and Tranmere Rovers, took over the helm of the national team just over a year and a half ago and led them to the final of last year's CONCACAF Gold Cup, which they lost to the United States. Under his tenure, Jamaica has risen to 48th in the FIFA World Rankings and to be the highest second-placed Caribbean side. And Trinidad and Tobago senior men football squad will take on Panama in an international friendly this evening at the Atto Bolden Stadium. And assistant coach Stuart Fevrier says his charges will not be taking the Panamanians for granted as they have secured their place in the FIFA World Cup. Fevrier feels TNT is up for the challenge.
We have been quite satisfied with the amount of work we have done over the last 2 to 3 weeks, because this work started prior to the games against Guadeloupe and Martinique and continued since then. And I must say that the players have been working hard.
As for the players, they say they have been gelling in the camp and are hoping to keep a clean sheet like they did against Martinique and Guadeloupe.
So as we said, last 2 games we came off a clean sheet, The coach emphasized, when we go into games, we try not to concede and build from there. So as long as we don't concede, there's a chance, a possibility that we can score and come out with victory.
And that's Caribbean in 10. Join us again at 6:30 for Caribbean Newsline. Good afternoon.